Today, we're putting on our detective hats for a technical investigation into AMD. You know, its stock chart is a real mystery right now, just full of conflicting clues. So we're going to piece it all together and try to figure out where it's headed next. All right, let's get into it. So this is the big question, isn't it? AMD is at this critical fork in the road. Is it going to break higher, or are we looking at a pullback? The clues are right there on the chart, so let's start digging.
First things first, we're analyzing the core clues. You know, every good investigation has to start with the absolute basics. Where's the price, what's its recent range, and what's the overall trend?
Our investigation kicks off right here. This is AMD's current price. Think of it as the "You Are Here" pin on our map. And wow, just look at that spread. This thing has been all over the place. Its current price is sitting smack dab in the middle of this 3-month range. And that tells us something really important. It's in what we call a consolidation phase. It's kind of like the stock is just catching its breath after some pretty huge moves. Now, to get a clearer picture of the trend, we're going to bring in one of our key investigative tools, moving averages. What these do is they cut through all that daily noise by just averaging out the price over time. It gives us a much cleaner, smoother look at the real direction the stock is trying to go. And here we go. This is the central conflict in our whole case. The short-term clues, they're looking pretty bullish, pointing to some upward momentum. But, and this is a big but, the price is stuck below that critical medium-term average. That line is basically acting like a ceiling, a major roadblock. All right, time to head inside the forensic lab. Now we pull out the advanced tools, the technical indicators that can spot hidden clues about momentum and how strong a trend really is. And you guessed it, inside the lab, the story just gets more complicated. We're getting totally conflicting reports. On one side, you've got indicators screaming bullish momentum. The MACD is giving us a positive signal, and the stochastics is pointing up too. But then, on the other side, the signals are, well, they're kind of shrugging their shoulders. The RSI, which measures the speed of price moves, is just parked in neutral. And the ADX, a tool built specifically to measure trend strength, is basically saying the current trend is super weak. It's like finding two sets of forensic evidence that point in completely opposite directions.
So the takeaway here is crucial. There is absolutely no consensus. We have a totally split verdict from our most sensitive tools. You know, this kind of indecision often pops up when the market is just holding its breath, maybe waiting for something big like an earnings report. And that indecision, it's a major clue in itself. You know, this quote from the analysis really just nails it. It perfectly sums up everything we've found so far. This isn't a case about a stock that's in free fall. The bigger picture, that longer-term trend, is still positive. But right now, in the here and now, it's just stuck in a holding pattern, moving sideways and building up energy for whatever comes next.
So with all this conflicting evidence piling up, what's next for AMD? Let's try to decode the future by mapping out the most likely scenarios. This right here is where the case gets decided. We've pinpointed two critical price levels that have become the battle lines for the stock. Above us, at about 167, that's the ceiling, the resistance. And below us, around 160, that's the floor, our key support. Whichever way AMD breaks out of this narrow channel is going to be our biggest clue yet. So based on those battle lines, here are the three most probable scenarios. First, the bullish breakout. The price just smashes clean through that 167 resistance. Second, the bearish breakdown. The price falls right through that 160 support floor. Or third, and maybe the most likely thing in the immediate short term, is just more sideways consolidation. The stock keeps bouncing between these two levels, just frustrating everybody. All right, we've reviewed all the evidence, we've looked at it from every angle, and now it is time to deliver the analyst's final verdict. And here it is. After weighing all of those conflicting clues, the final verdict is a neutral signal. And, this part is really important, it comes with low confidence. The evidence is just too mixed, it's too contradictory to make a strong call in either direction right now. The market itself is undecided on AMD. So what should you really take away from this whole investigation? Well, first, the technicals are completely split down the middle. Second, that price zone between roughly 160 and 167 is everything right now. A clean break out of that range is the trigger you've got to watch for. And finally, just remember, despite all this short-term confusion, the bigger picture for AMD still leans positive. So the case remains open. The clues are all there on the chart and the battle lines are drawn. The real question now is, which piece of evidence? Is it going to be a bullish indicator, a key price level, a sudden surge in volume? Which one is finally going to be the clue that cracks this case and signals AMD's next big move? All we can do is keep watching the evidence.